Hi, I'm Lance Lambert. Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Vehicle Show. We're in Lake Stevens, Washington at the AquaFest Car Show. This is a great show. It happens every year. I think this is our 9th year of coming here and filming it. We love coming out to this show. We hope you love it too. So you are going to do what you do every week. Just kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Tom Wood, 1949 Lincoln Cosmopolitan town sedan. I've never seen one of these. I don't think I've even seen one in a picture or an old magazine ad. This is phenomenal. This is cool. Tell us about this.
Well, I bought it about 4 years ago at Lambert, and then spent 2 years putting a Art Morrison subframe, Lincoln CTSV motor, 6-speed automatic with a Ford 9-inch rear end and airbags.
When you rolled in, I felt like an amateur. It's like, well, I don't know. I don't think that's a custom, but I've never seen that roof line before, and I've seen a Cosmopolitan, but not like, I was befuddled.
The town sedan, they only made 1 year. They cut it off mid-year to build the convertibles because it wasn't selling, and they continued with the sports sedan for 4 years.
What kind of sales figures did they have on these?
About 2,200.
Have you ever seen one before?
No. When I saw it, I stayed because I thought it was going to go for big money, but nobody bid on it because they didn't know what it was.
Well, to your benefit. So Art Morrison on the bottom of this thing. What else is going on?
A Wildwood 4-wheel disc, the TCI 6-speed automatic, and then a 370 Ford 9-inch, and it gets 15 plus on the road.
I asked this to a lot of the people that are on the show. When you roll into a show, people must just go crazy. What do they say?
A lot of them look at it because everybody says they've never seen one. But when they look under the hood, then they're really surprised because I did a kind of a tongue-in-cheek in the 50s when they would put Cadillac motors into the Lincolns and the Mercs for performance.
What are the future plans for it?
Paint and a new interior. I held off on both of those because you got to take the interior out to paint it, and I figured I'd mess it up. So I'll redo the interior and the paint this winter.
Is this a build that you're handling on your own? Do you have a crew helping you?
Well, Steve Howard did all the heavy lifting on the suspension and motor, transmission, rear end stuff, and then I'll pick a body shop. I have a couple in mind.
We've been doing the show for 22 years. There's probably not another 22 years in the show left, but there's a few more years, and I bet I never see one of these again. Okay. So, Tom, thank you very much for being on the Vintage Vehicle Show.
I really appreciate it.
You bet.
All right. Thank you.
Tom Swineford, this is one of the cars that just leapt out at me. Your 27 Ford is really cool. Tell us about it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just something a little bit different. My son and I built it. Started with some drawings from California Custom Roadster, built the frame, put the body together out of parts, hand laid up the fiberglass hood. Got a 400 small block Chevy, 350 automatic transmission, Ford 9-inch rear, pretty standard.
The track T look on this, the front end is not completely track T, but the rest of the car is, was that definitely what you were shooting for?
Yeah, like the old Lakes modified roadsters that would have run on the dry lakes back in the 30s and 40s. That kind of a style. Clean, simple, plain.
There's not a lot of weight here, and it's a fairly short wheelbase. Is it squirrely to drive, or is it okay?
It's pretty, it's pretty good. Yeah, it handles real well, runs straight.
And this weighs what, 1,500 pounds or so?
It's actually a little heavy. It's right at 2,000. When I had it inspected, it was right at 2,000.
That's still a lot of power for that much weight.
It is. It's really fun.
Was it a long father-son build, and a couple years or 10 years, or?
We started buying parts in 2002, and I had it inspected in September last year, so it was 12 years.
Pretty nice thing to do with your son, though.
It is. He's in his 40s, and this is something I would have built back in the day if I'd have had any money. So,
well, Tom, thank you very much. This is a beautiful car, and it looks like a lot of fun. And man, I wish I would have bought the one I saw.
You should have.
I should have. Jay Smith, your 1960 Bel-Air, not an Impala, is very cool. Just beautiful car.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your comment.
How is it that it's, every time I see something like this, it's an Impala? This is kind of unusual being a Bel-Air.
Well, the Bel-Airs they're about $400 less expensive than an Impala, and probably 98% of the people in the world jump for the Impala and like the chrome, the badging, and
$400 back then was a lot of money.
Especially to that wheat farmer in Nebraska where this car came from. It was purchased in 1960 in Nebraska, and it went into a barn in 1968. The guy went and bought a pickup truck, and it sat for, till 3-4 years ago. It's got 49,000 miles on it. It's got a 283, 3-speed, and everything is original radio, as original as I can keep it, at least, and I'm trying to keep it that way. A lot of people say, why don't you put a 350 in there? Why don't you drop it, bag it, and, French it and all this kind of stuff, do these things? And no, I'm not. It's too nice a car.
When something is this nice, you don't want to do that to it. The styling of the 59 and the 60 are very similar, but the 60s always look to me like they should have come out before the 59 because they're a little more squared off, and then the 59 is sleeker. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the 59 is, if you look at the fins in the back, they're more rolled, they're more curved, they're bigger. Yeah, I'd agree with that statement.
Well, Jay, thank you very much. This is as nice of a 60 Chev and perhaps the nicest that I've ever seen. So thank you very much for being on the Vintage View.
Thank you very much.
Jay Maddox, I love having orphan cars on the show, and man, is this an orphan car. Tell us about your 55 Nash Ambassador.
Okay. I picked this car up in Linden one time, and I saw it advertised in the Little Nickel. That was in 1980. It was for sale for a grand total of $900 at the time. It wasn't anywhere near the condition it's in at this particular state. Being an orphan guy myself, I love the unusual cars. I thought this would be a good investment, and mostly I just loved the car, the looks, the lines, everything. And also this car was designed by Pininfarina, which I thought, at that time, I didn't even know who the hell it was. And I've done some work on it. I've painted it a couple of times. The upholstery is original, though. The driving train's original. The engine had been rebuilt at one time. Pretty much stock everywhere. I also have two Kaisers, which I show, both of which are orphan cars, as you know. And I've always loved unique cars.
One of the things that this car has that I don't think works on many cars, but it works on this, it has a Continental kit.
Right. And that's just an extra, maybe it was extra $200 or $300 at the factory, but it really makes the car, pop. It's just, especially from the rear end, it's just an unusual thing to have, and it's at the top of the line.
And the grill on it looks very sports car-ish.
I think that had a lot to do with Pininfarina, and also the way the fenders, the front fenders, work in conjunction with the front end. They don't have a headlight, which you'd think you might find. The headlight is actually working in from the grill in toward the grill, like cross-eyed almost. But you can see the touch of Pininfarina in the front end, especially, not so much in the back.
The power plant on this, flathead, or what's going on in there?
Overhead 6. It's a healthy 165 horsepower, approximately 220 cubic inch. It has side draft carburetors, and it actually at the time this car was built in the engine. This particular engine was manufactured. It was used in race cars. Hard to believe, but it was. It's a racing engine.
In 1955, nothing looked like this. None of the other cars resembled this. So, do you have any idea how it went over with the public back then?
All I remember that particular time when I was in high school, I probably wouldn't want to be seen in one of these cars. I don't know what happened, but somewhere along the way, I changed my attitude. I changed my thinking. I liked something that was very unique.
Well, I started buying orphan cars and Ramblers when I was 19, and it was an economical choice. And I soon realized that these were great cars, and Nashes and Ramblers and Packards and all those cars you could buy for next to nothing. And now they're my preference. I love them.
Of course, and we both did.
We're going to close out this meeting of the Mutual Admiration Society here.
Enough of this.
All right. Thank you very much, Jay. Beautiful car.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Jim Scharf, this is truly a vintage vehicle. Your 1921 Dodge Brothers, not Dodge, but Dodge Brothers touring car, is that what it is?
Yes, it is.
So tell us a little bit about it. And this is definitely the oldest car here.
Yes, it is. Most shows that we attend, this is a stock car. They only came off the showroom floor looking like this one time, and I want to preserve it forever in this condition.
It's Dodge Brothers. It's not just a Dodge. Tell us why the difference.
Okay, the Dodge brothers, Horace and John Dodge, started the company together. They were machinists. They made bicycles, and then when people started building cars, they built the engines for Ransom E. Olds and the curved dash Mary Oldsmobiles. From there, they moved on to working for Henry Ford, where they built all the chassis for his cars until they had a falling out in 1914. At that time, the Dodge brothers started building their own cars.
Driving this, are you just putting along at 25 if you're lucky, or can you keep up with in-town traffic, or you just don't do that and you bring it in the trailer and roll it off?
No, this has a 3-speed transmission, so it goes about 30 miles an hour. It's fun to drive around on the country roads, but you don't want to take it out on the highway.
The engine on this, 40 horse or so?
No, it's only about a 24 horse. Some people say they had 36 horses, but I haven't been able to confirm that. It's geared really low. I start out in second gear unless I'm stopped on a hill because it's geared that low.
The steering wheel, you loosen something and it slides in, but was that for the larger drivers of these cars? What's that about?
This is what they call a fat man steering wheel. In the teens, they invented this steering wheel to slide up out of the way so you could get in and out of your car. It's not a stock item, it's an aftermarket item from the teens.
We've talked about the performance, but how is it to drive? Are you just pushing and pulling and pedaling and doing all kinds of things, or is it pretty just straightforward? You put it in gear, let the clutch out, and go?
No, it's pretty simple to operate. It's not like the Model T. One of the features that Dodge Brothers came up with on the transmission was when you're in third gear, the shifter is forward and up and out of the way of your knees, so you got more room. But it also has a spark advance that you adjust, once you get going. And it also has throttle on the stick so that you can set the throttle in case you ever did need to crank start this car, you could, but it does have a starter generator combination.
Well, thank you very much for being on the Vintage Vehicle Show. It's a great car.
Thank you very much.
What a great time we've had at the AquaFest Car Show. A big thank you goes out to the sponsors, and a big thank you goes out to all the people we interviewed today. And a big thank you goes out to you. If you're not watching the show, we don't have a show. So we will see you again next time, and until then, bye-bye.